Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Hi, I'm Adam Green, the director of the Hatchet franchise, Paulson TV show, Frozen, Sing Up Tomorrow, and more. You are watching Gory Storytime with Jason and Craig. Or is it Craig and Jason? I'm Craig. You're Craig?
Were there any groups left unoffended by this movie?
And why would we review such filth?
All this and more on this episode of Gory Storytime.
Da-dun-dun-dun-dun. Da-dun-dun-dun-dun. Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. This is not our first time trying to film this episode. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig, and just to quickly answer those questions, because they're so far away, no, and because we're not pussies.
Yeah. We're taking all of the stops out on this episode.
Yeah, warning. There's already a TV MA for this show, because we talk about gory stuff. We usually try to keep it fairly clean, but this movie is so filthy, it's kind of hard to keep it clean.
So this episode is going to be off the wall. So take your kids out of the room if they weren't already to bed because it's 11 o'clock at night.
Or 8:30 or 7, or like they play it earlier than that.
This episode?
He'll play it. Trust me.
Whatever.
Cole
It doesn't
will put
matter.
it in at the normal time. Anyway.
So, this episode, we're reviewing the third in our series of Adam Green-related movies.
Because as you saw at the beginning, because obviously it was put in there perfectly, we met Adam Green, and he was a nice enough guy to actually, give a shout out to Gory Storytime and call you Craig and call me Jason.
Twice. And then himself, Jason.
Well, that got cut off, so they don't know that.
They don't know that.
Behind the scenes info.
Yeah. So
anyway,
tune in.
Before we get too far, obviously we want the people. Well, basically, here's the premise. There's a drive-in movie theater getting closed down.
Yep. Last night.
It's their last night, bought out, and the guy has these 4 never-before-seen...
Awful, not awful, but so terrible for kids. You don't take the family to see these movies.
And
so
he's
he
going
puts
to
them
air
all
them for the first time, and he's just going to go out with a bang. And each one of them was directed by a different director, and Adam Green did one, which we'll get into with our behind-the-scenes facts. But that's the basic premise of the movie. There's a wraparound story involving the drive-in and then the movies that you watch.
Yes, there is.
Again, don't let your kids watch this, but here's the trailer.
Welcome to Chillerama. 4 chilling tales of terror, not for the faint of heart. 4 no-holds-barred films from 4 of today's most demented directors. Chillerama is a carnival of gore, guts, and good times. First,
it is a biological anomaly the likes of which the medical community has never seen.
Godzilla.
Oh my god, it's coming!
Horror so tasteless.
It's getting bigger!
It's delicious.
You can say that again.
Then
Don't you like boobies?
feel the bite.
This is your bite, my ass.
Of I Was a Teenage Werebag.
Even a boy who thinks he's straight, yet shaves his balls by night, may become a bear.
Then discover how we really won the war. In The Diary of Anne Frankenstein.
Frankenstein!
Frankenstein.
Finally,
You kids get out of here!
witness the debauchery
He's trying to kiss me! What the sweet scent of Satan's scrote is going on here?
of zombie movie.
When there's no more room left in hell, the dead shall the earth.
Chillerama. You'll marvel at the madness.
What in God's name?
Cringe at the cruelty. And delight in the depravity.
Now put the gun to my head, pull the trigger. The bullet should take us both out.
What? That's the best idea you've got? Oh my God!
Perhaps we can view this as a cautionary tale. God help us all.
Drive in and freak out.
It's gonna be a hell of a night.
Chillerama.
I promise to make tonight worth your while.
The ultimate midnight movie.
And
We're back.
Wow, that trailer gave away a lot or some.
It actually
or
gave away
maybe?
quite a bit.
I don't know.
But it's not in context, so it doesn't hurt too much. Now, speaking of advertisements for things, how do we keep our pockets so fat?
With these sponsors, you know what else these sponsors help us do? Keep all of the technical difficulties to a very minimum.
Yes. But this week, we have to give a shout out to our special sponsors for this movie, because it takes special sponsors to, pay to advertise. What?
Okay, sorry. I got spooked because the camera came to life.
Oh. Anyway, it takes special sponsors to be willing to be associated with this film.
Yeah,
But
right.
these are real sponsors that actually exist.
Yes.
This week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by Blood, Boobs, and Fart Jokes, the new streaming service for men 18 and above. Blood, Boobs, and Fart Jokes is the anti-Disney Plus. We only carry movies rated R and NC-17. All shows are rated TVMA, so put the kids to bed and start streaming the bloodiest horror movies, the filthiest comedies, and the bounciest breastises. Not available on those lame streaming services. Snowflakes be warned, there is no email campaign big enough to take us down. So if you watch Blood, Boobs, and Fart Jokes and decide to be offended, why don't you just go fuck yourself?
This is a perfect episode. And by Jizz Out Stain Remover. The only stain remover made for those protein globs left on sheets. Underwear, and of course, gym socks. Mothers, are you tired of washing your teenagers' clothes because you know why they crackle? Try Jizz Out. Housekeepers remove all signs of nasties before the next undercover news crew uses UV rays to disgrace your motel. Try Jizz Out. Guaranteed to remove erectoplasm stains of any size. That's Jizz Out. Ask for it by name.
All right. Like I said, take special sponsors for this one.
With big balls.
Let's give some behind-the-scenes info. What do you say?
I say.
You going first?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Christina Christina, and her mother translated the script for the Diary of Anne Frankenstein segment into German for all the German-speaking cast members.
In February 2012, the movie wound up in the headlines when a soundtrack for the gay-themed musical segment I Was a Teenage Werebear was released. Director Tim Sullivan found his eBay listings of the album were pulled and finalized sales were canceled because eBay deemed the auctions, which included a still from the film of Sean Paul Lockhart in his underwear, morally offensive. eBay reps told Sullivan that he could relist the soundtrack, but only in the pornographic adults-only section of the site. Side note, eBay has a pornographic section?
That's news to me. The segment, I Was a Teenage Werebear, was originally going to take place in a high school, but this location was switched to a beach because shooting in a high school proved to be too expensive.
They have a lot of info on this, apparently. The segment, I Was a Teenage Werebear, was shot in 5 days.
The original titles for the Zombie movie and I Was a Teenage Werebear segments were Zombie Drive-In and I Was a Teenage Vampire. So they just completely changed that creature.
The black and white opening sequence was shot in 2 days.
Tim Sullivan replaced another actor at last minute for the segment I Was a Teenage Werebear.
The blood in the segment, The Diary of Anne Frankenstein, was really chocolate syrup.
Good. I'm glad, actually. The segment, The Diary of Anne Frankenstein, was shot in 4 days.
The background plates of New York City for the segment Wadzilla were taken at Universal Studios backlot in California.
Okay.
You know, the New York skyline.
Yeah.
In California.
Right. The drive-in theater location was an actual working drive-in until they filmed this movie.
The televisions in the windows of the appliance store in Wadzilla were actually cardboard boxes which were painted to look like 1950s TVs.
Awesome. The New York backgrounds featured in Wadzilla are photos of the Universal backlot.
I heard that somewhere
filmmakers
before. Surreptitiously.
That shot under the guise of location scouting.
But it's basically something we've already said, or you've already said. Most of the lines Joel Moore utters as Hitler are gibberish, with few exceptions. When the subtitles read, "Why is everyone so mean to me?" what he actually says in German is, "I am such a shitty actor." Instead of singing the line, "I don't want to rule the world," he keeps singing, "I have worms in my penis."
Right. Wilhelm scream in the Wadzilla segment when Miles makes the sperm sample.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I
heard And I actually commented at the time, I'm like, there's the Wilhelm scream.
Hey.
3 times in a row there was a Wilhelm scream when all the zombies were going crazy at the drive-in and the zombie pinned the guy to the hood of the car.
Oh, yep. Keith David was originally considered for the role of Cecil B. Kaufman.
Filming for the segment I Was a Teenage Werebear was almost shut down due to the location sheriff not approving the content of the script.
No one should approve the content of this script.
Including the writer of the script.
Right. It's great. Thomas Dekker was considered for the part of Ricky for the I Was a Teenage Werebear segment.
The Kaufman Drive-In Theater is named after Lloyd Kaufman. Do you know where that name comes from?
No.
Do you know all of the Toxic Avenger movies and
Wow.
Trauma?
Does not surprise me.
It's the Trauma guy.
This movie does not surprise me.
It's the guy who actually, Mr. Gunn, who had all the pedophile jokes, was tweeting back and forth about some of the pedophile jokes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Uncle Lloyd, he calls himself.
Ugh.
Yeah, creepy, right?
That doesn't add a creep factor to that at all. The actors who played the werebears in the segment I Was a Teenage Werebear showed up at their auditions wearing leather outfits.
Makes sense. Joel David Moore learned some German for his role as Adolf Hitler. However, a majority of the lines Hitler says in the film are not German. And listen closely because some of them are funny as hell.
Yes. Adam Rifkin did all of his own stunts in the Wadzilla segment. Stunts? Okay.
The newscaster in the Wadzilla segment is played by Rich Koz. Koz is known by his more famous character Sven Gulli, and has made a career as a horror host who sends up the same types of movies this film satirizes. He actually did an interview recently on the Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast. Oh, yes. The people have spoken when rating this movie on Rotten Tomatoes. They say it's a good 44%, which makes it rotten.
Majorly. And the people who are paid to do the part... Critics give it a 40 because they liked it even less than the people.
Yes.
Which was not a lot.
All right. Now, would you like to get into our favorite and least favorite things? What do you want to do first? Least favorite?
Favorite.
Oh, you want favorite first?
Favorite first.
Go ahead.
So my favorite, we touched on it a little bit in this. It was part of the, what was it? The Diary of Anne Frankenstein?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Was the name of the story. And it was, when I wasn't reading the subtitles because I was trying to pay attention to the story, just listening in to the things that very clearly weren't German, it was absolutely amazing and hilarious, and I didn't realize that 90% of the things that they were saying weren't in another language.
But when you paid attention, some of it was very clearly English with a thick accent saying some very funny stuff.
Yes. And yeah, that's my
All right.
favorite.
My favorite part probably had to be when the girl tried to kiss the guy at the end of the Wadzilla segment, and he kept like going, like he wanted to kiss her, and then she was getting more and more upset with him. So finally he said, "Fuck it," and kissed her.
Yeah.
You'll understand that if you ever watch this, and don't watch it if you
don't want to understand that.
Well, just I suggest people watch it if they have a strong stomach and aren't snowflakey. If you're snowflakey at all, this is not the film for you.
Yeah. Least favorite, super tough for me. I think probably my least favorite is that these segments weren't actually longer. Because I think...
You want them to be full movies each?
Yes.
That's dumb.
I liked it.
You're dumb.
Actually, correction.
They should have had more of the last one.
Correction. The very last one they teased.
Yeah.
Which was about, like, shit. Literally. It looked hilarious.
What was it called again? I can't remember.
Shit the movie. I'm going to go with that for
It
now.
wasn't that, but sure.
And it was just... Everything was poop. Actually. There was shit flying at people and killing them. And then the film stopped working and it turned into a zombie thing. Which I do love zombies. I do love zombies. But I like shit jokes a little bit more.
Yeah, but come on. Zombie orgies with blue blood?
Could have still been the wraparound story
How long do you
shit.
think this movie had to be? Come on.
2.5 hours.
I can't remember what the hell they called it. It was like...
Zombie movie.
No, the poop movie part. It was
I don't remember.
It wasn't like Crapageddon, but it was something like that. It was like...
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know, but it was good.
Watch the movie and you'll know.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a few weeks. We were supposed to be here a couple weeks ago, and then last week was Thanksgiving, and you know.
You know.
What was your least favorite thing?
Your turn.
Oh, yeah, you just did that, huh? I don't listen to you.
Okay.
That's my favorite thing is I don't listen to you. No. My least favorite part, boy, probably had to be the entire Werebear thing. Minus the songs. The songs were funny as hell.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that was one of the things you posted on Facebook was a quote about being bit on the ass.
Oh, yeah. Love bit me on the ass. That's what
Which
it was.
is the name of one of the songs, I believe, right?
And the chorus.
Yeah. And it was pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
So that whole segment was just...
A little too gay for you?
See, here's the thing. I felt uncomfortable watching it.
Because...
Phobic. No, because just like I would be uncomfortable watching a serious, like straight lovemaking scene with you in the room, because...
Oh, it's because you couldn't have at yourself at the gay porn on the screen while I was in the room.
First of all,
realized...
it wasn't gay porn, first of all. Second of all, it was
it might as well have been.
Anything that sexual with my son in the room, this isn't Alabama.
So why wasn't the first one your least favorite?
I mean, there wasn't a lot of sex going on in that one.
I mean, it's a pretty cummy story.
Oh, it was full of jizz, but not a lot of sex.
Okay.
There was a lot more sex in the Werebear thing.
True. I mean, yeah. Okay. So, not to the side of me on either side because this week is all fucked up.
You can watch us on Fact TV Thursdays at 8:30, Fridays at 7. Enjoy that shit.
Yeah, right. You can like Gory Storytime on Facebook, and you can like Fact TV on Facebook. If you're not watching this live, because we wouldn't dare.
Yeah, this movie was just too
un-PC. No, see, the one they would be fine with is the gay one.
It was overtly... No, but I'm saying it was too very sexual, very cummy, very...
Violent,
bloody.
very...
I mean, it starts with a guy digging up his ex-girlfriend so he can have sex with her body. Well, I mean, Adam Green being Jewish, I guess, can do the Diary of Anne Frankenstein, but it still seems anti-Semitic in many a way.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But anyway, if you have a problem with this movie and you want to complain to us, you can go ahead to our dead email, which is gorystorytime@yahoo.com, and suck both of my nuts one at a time, gently, with a little caressing.
Yeah, so watch this movie, don't watch this movie.
You can follow
Either
us
way.
on Twitter.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at JasonTJ. Capital J. Technical difficulties. Capital J, capital T, capital J.
I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase. And we don't really talk about the show, but if you really need to find us and go, what the hell was that?
We will certainly answer.
We'll go, we were discussing your mom's sex tape.
Yeah, right? Okay, so, until next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm your co-host.
I really loved this episode.
His father, Craig. And
Wet dreams.